Hello, welcome to the S.H.O.P, the Social Hub of Positivity. This week, in the background, we've got Phil speaking garbled nonsense to the ether. In this corner, we have the wonderful artist, Julie Hartley. Julie Thelma Hartley. Thelma!
Thank you.
Now,
Thelma and Louise.
you will see on this podcast some examples of this wonderful person's wonderful work. I've actually got some toffee in my mouth, and if it goes down the wrong hole or I choke to death, I want you to know that I've enjoyed my life, and I want to say a quick thank you to the wonderful people. Exactly.
Oh my God.
So there's me, right? I'm doing a self-portrait, and then I have an argument with one of my girlfriends, and
One of them.
I cut off. Oh no, that's Vincent van Gogh. No, skin cancer. Just want to say thank you to the wonderful people at Royal United Hospital in Bath.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah.
They really are. Yeah.
So we'll go to them for this, which is great. We'll see how this all ends up. We've got prostate cancer as well, so in another department. We'll send to Sam, one of our colleagues. What amazing people! Not just arbitrary, just like wow, what great teams in both departments.
Yeah, it's quite extraordinary.
Well, I'm hoping that it's the same in all the departments, and I hope they get a suitable pay rise.
Yes.
Perhaps we could divert some of the money that has been squandered and taken out of our society by the people that have been in control of purse strings, both locally and nationally. Anyway, enough of that.
Oh no, I'm all for a conversation on that one.
Love you already.
Let's go.
Your work, I love, I've got to say, personally, right? And a lot of people have come in and either complimented it. I've been here on shifts here. I've had conversations about your work. Yeah, I've been here when people have bought it, and I think they buy it quite regularly.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about, because people are going to see, we're going to hopefully, Maya, bless her, is going to edit something in here so they can see it, but you have to see it up close, really. What got you started? How long have you been doing it?
I think with anything like that, you're doing it all your life, aren't you, really? You just...
I'm sitting back here.
I mean, I did go to college to study design.
Which college?
Swindon, I think. God, that's a long time ago.
Euclid Street.
I can't remember that word.
There's an art college, wasn't there, back in the day in Euclid Street?
Well, it was design, so I think it was just the standard college. But I took time out to go to America, to go travelling.
Wow.
And ended up going with someone that was an extremely not nice person. And he suffered a lot of abuse out there.
Wow, that's not good.
And no, it wasn't, and it's affected my whole life. But I got back. I was suffering a lot from a lot of mental health problems, PTSD, asking for help, not getting help, slipped through the net a lot.
Well, there's a lot of holes in that net, isn't there?
There is some massive holes.
As well as the work the great work that CAMs and people do.
And they do.
When you can get hold of them.
When you can get in
it's
there.
not their fault.
Yeah.
It's again back to the funding, isn't it?
Yeah,
Priorities.
it is absolutely the funding,
right.
Because these people are extraordinarily dedicated.
Aren't they? I've worked with them.
You know,
they are
and
absolutely
when
brilliant.
I finally managed to get some help, I worked with an amazing psychologist, and it's allowed me to work through the experiences that happened to me in the cascade of events that sort of put the nails in the coffin, so to speak, you know, and helped me to be able to become the person that I am, you know, the real me, instead of the fractured me.
Yeah.
And the real me was always there, and even with a lot of the difficulties of not understanding anything, shame, you know, not knowing where to turn, it really compounded everything. And when you do manage to get, I mean, in the end, I just collapsed. My nervous system got completely burnt out, and I just simply couldn't function anymore. I'd been not in a very good way, without going into too much detail, for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And I think because the help took such a long time to get into the system, the damage has already been done, kind of thing, which is a shame.
Yeah.
But then we're all learning and we're all growing, and I think part of the system is also learning and growing. That you know, there's a lot of people that suffer with trauma, and I think that's a root thing. There's no magic thing that can cure it all. And I think a lot of what I've realised is it's just helping each other and talking about it. It's not something to be ashamed of. Absolutely not.
100%.
And it can actually strengthen you as a human being, and it's also allowed me to develop the things that allow me to do what I'm doing now. So it's kind of, it's, you know, doing the painting really is just a culmination of how life has been, with an actual love and feel for colour and for life and for all of it, and for love, most of all love, because without love I wouldn't be here. Simple as. When I collapsed, it was a big breakdown. I'd had 2 previous and recovered, but like bang, let's go again. You know, until I was like, down, that's it, you're staying down this time. And diagnosed with fibromyalgia, trigeminal neuralgia.
Wow.
And so I was not in a very good way, and basically thought life was over. I couldn't function. I think my daughter said to me, "Why don't you paint? Why don't you do some painting?" I don't think she knew what to sort of do with me really, and I didn't know what to do with me. So I tried painting and drawing, and I can't do real life, and at all.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
You know, and but I love patterns, and I love like the world inside of me is a different world, because a lot of dissociation and not wanting to be in this world, you know. So you kind of go into a different world. I don't know. And that's not always a good thing, because we need to be in our bodies, you know, we need to be able to function. But if you can manage, like, because when I started, I said, Lydia, I can't do this. But then I was watching on YouTube and I saw fluid art, and I was like, wow. Wow. It just like, oh my God, it's so bang, it's so like,
and flowy as well, isn't it?
It flows, and I've never seen anything like it, and I was just absolutely in awe. So I gave it a go, and like I managed to be able to work it with my condition, because I can only sustain things for a certain amount of time and then my body stops, kind of thing. So it was something I could do a little bit and then, you know, have to sort of stop. And I got things wrong a lot.
Is there anything such thing as wrong in art?
Exactly. And so in my state of mind, like, I'd kind of broken down who I thought I was, because what had happened to me was so devastating. I kind of had nothing to gauge who I was anymore. You see what I mean? And
I'm not saying that arbitrarily yet. No. You know, well, it's a world that can do. A lot of people think we just work with young people. Actually, we work with the whole community, and usually in areas where light needs to be shone on, and people need to be supported to find their voice and to find an ability. That's why we use the arts. Non-threatening. You're already explaining. We'll get you to explain the whole ethos of Can Do by exactly what you're saying, where you've come from, and how it's helped you as an outlet to express something that is neither. It's physical, but it's not necessarily logical. It's not academic. It's not intellectual. It just is.
It just is,
isn't it? And it's that emotional,
because
the emotional flow as well.
I thought I was, and then that kind of attached itself onto the outcome and wanted to control it and wanting to do stuff with it, but the magic of fluid eye is it will not be controlled in any way, shape or form.
Yeah.
And I loved it and hated it because it was like I wanted to control it, because I became quite controlling in my life because I desperately needed to stop bad things from happening.
Yeah.
So I became very controlling in a nice way, but nevertheless controlling, you know.
Yeah.
Was
you realise
terrified
these
of letting
things.
go of that.
That's amazing.
me.
How so can I just a little slip into that? So how did you realise that? How did you realise that you could observe
Life
yourself?
went on without me.
Well,
I
that
died.
Was that it?
When I lost everything, like my physical capacity, sometimes I couldn't talk, couldn't laugh, sometimes I couldn't you know, I was in a mess. And internally, I'd gone because I couldn't relate to anything. And everyone else starts to get on with their lives, you know, and you're left kind of... and then you kind of just realise it's done, it's over, but I'm still here. And, you know, it's like, what was the question?
How did you realise that you were controlling and that actually...
Yes. So there's life goes on without me.
Yeah.
So everyone
So
that I was trying to
therefore,
stop bad things from happening
Yeah.
to, I realised that I couldn't control that anymore. So bad things could happen. Bad things can be a part of life.
Yeah. And you
that's
can't control everything anyway.
You can't control everything.
And you can only hopefully...
Yeah, it's like the
But
AA prayer, you know.
Oh,
you know.
yeah, I guess it is
Some
actually. And why
things
wouldn't
you
it?
can
Yeah.
do, some, you know.
The things that you have in power to affect and the ones that
Yeah.
you can't, whatever.
Yeah.
That's it, isn't it? You can control how you respond to what happens
Yes.
to you, but you can't control how people respond.
Stoicism, yeah.
Stoicism, absolutely. This
Yeah.
is and the reason why we're doing these podcasts, by the way, is to celebrate the achievements of people that sometimes are physical ones, but actually for people, and you're doing brilliantly, and I thank you for it, sharing stories that whoever might watch this would become inspired. They might be in a similar state. They might, it doesn't matter who they are, young, old, indifferent. We've got all sorts of people watching it, to understand your journey and see how that might compare to theirs, and it might inspire them. Yeah, I felt that, and you're not alone in this. That a big part of this psychoanalysis and the idea of working around mind is that if you don't know that there's such a thing, you are just at the mercy of your own thoughts, aren't you? And if you don't know there's a way to intervene cognitively, you are then at the mercy and think that everything you feel is real.
Yes.
And sometimes we try and justify that, or we try and project the blame or whatever on other things, people or things or circumstance. And actually, and this is why I was saying to you, so how did you realise that actually I'm trying to control everything?
I had a couple of years where I couldn't really do much at all.
Yeah.
So the doctors kind of looked at me, with that look, and it was like, you're on your own. And it's like, okay, so I just researched. I just researched and I researched diet, and I found out a lot about that. So I completely cleaned out chemicals,
and processed
toxins,
foods, and
all of that.
Oh, that's what you're saying. You don't. Sugar's the main one. Sugar's a gateway drug to all of it, isn't it?
Sugar is more addictive. I watched this thing and it was saying that they did the coke, heroin, sugar
100%.
with this rat, which is upsetting because I've got nothing against rats.
Yeah.
Outcome was, what did they go for?
Yeah.
Sugar.
And if you look at the history of sugar, there's not many good things that are associated with sugar. The history of slavery. Yeah. The massive wealth that the estate owners had and have had, and it's still going through. Look at who made money out of the slave trade, and if I'm not mistaken, the Church of England, and if I'm not mistaken, the Royals. If I'm not mistaken, I might be mistaken. Do your own research, people.
Yeah,
you don't
research
need me.
is a good thing,
isn't it? And I'm really chuffed that you're saying all these things, because, of course, when we share stories as human beings and you keep hearing these reoccurrences, for instance, I've been at meetings because the work that we do about drug dependency, and I've said, trust me, Sugar's the first one. Sugar's the gateway drug to all the other ones. When you have you need an external input to make you feel a certain way. You don't know it's happening. We give it to our children. Goes right through the diet, the processed food, everything.
Processed food is
all the carbs, all the white breads, the things. They're all sugars. They're just different forms of sugar. And when I said, "Do you want coffee?" This hasn't got caffeine in it.
I can't. Well, I can't do any. I mean, my body just couldn't withstand anything.
I get it. What I'm saying is, I've recently come to these things for health reasons as well.
Yeah.
But actually, I don't drink alcohol anymore, and I used to, and there's a good lot of sugar in that. I used to drink enough alcohol. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Enough alcohol. Probably more than enough alcohol. In fact, I have drunk other people's portion. You know what I mean?
Oh, Ed.
You know what I mean? So, I know. Look at the state of me.
I
know.
was an alcoholic at one point. You know,
Yeah.
I've done drugs. I've done.
Yeah.
You know, I've been
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah.
Smoked like an absolute bloody chimney.
Yeah. And they're all accessible things. Look at our society. Look how readily you can
Sugar,
obtain
though.
sugar.
Get off
of course.
sugar. After a couple of weeks,
But you have to know.
Miss it.
You have to know. You have to imagine this. This is my point, I guess. I'll follow on to. I'm impressed and inspired by the fact that you have done research and you've gone through diet and the lovely woman on the show. I don't know when this is going out, but Becky Wilson, who is a nutritionist. And as soon as you hear that, you think, well, that's someone who hopefully has been researching about the importance of what you put into your body and how it makes you, not just how your engine functions, but how your brain and your thoughts are affected and how you can rest.
Your gut is...
Oh my God, that's exactly what we're talking about. This is fantastic.
Serotonin and everything is made in the gut.
Absolutely.
I mean...
She's going, excuse me, there's my serotonin going off there. When you said serotonin, do burp a lot when I'm doing these things. It's weird, isn't it? I'm like spontaneous. Yeah, it is, I do.
Spontaneous burp on interviews.
I do burp. Can you have one on the thing? Because the biomes in your gut are as important as your heart, your liver, all those functions. Do we know about that in school? No disrespect to schools. They're under a lot of, on an incredibly onerous task to underfunded, undersupported. Classrooms are class sizes are too big, class sizes are too big, etc.
Well, yeah.
So that is fundamental.
Story,
of course it is, but it's all linked.
They are all linked,
aren't they?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, and we cherish our NHS, just said it already today, our teachers, fantastic, they do incredible work. We as a society do not give, it's down to the decision makers who we vote in and the system that they're voted into. It's corrupt, it's bankrupt, morally bankrupt, ethically bankrupt.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're having this conversation.
And it's stopping.
Well, it's damaging. It's actually
good information.
Totally. It perpetually,
I think we're coming off the same page. Huh?
Well, we didn't know this. This literally, we've had 2 conversations. This is the second, and from the start of this podcast is really when our second conversation. The first was merely you coming to display your work and me going, wow, this is amazing, can I do a podcast? Literally, that's all we've ever said to each other. I knew nothing about you, so I'm actually, this is a natural conversation. Same with Becky Wilson, and there's most people actually, to be fair. I don't do everyone's going to be shocked. We don't rehearse these things, there's no script. We are having a conversation and we see what unfolds, and there's a beauty in that, and there's an honesty and an integrity in that. It's not kind of like, I'm going to ask you this question and then you can think about it.
I wouldn't be able to do that.
I couldn't do it either. That's the truth.
I'd just be like,
exactly.
Now what?
Yeah, totally. So
and you can't really work. It's not real.
But you understand that so you understand about flow and you understand about what's real.
Yeah.
About when people say what's real, people, when they get involved in the should we mention the rats again, the rat race, when they're just in it and they don't know, maybe when they're not comatose from the drugs that they need to take, whether it's the nicotine, the caffeine, the sugar, the alcohol, the whatever, to try and offset the essential life grief that they have for the death of their dreams, and they're living and working in a way.
It's the death of the true self.
Yeah, it is, and it's no one's fault. I'm not blaming anyone. We have a system that's set up to essentially educate us to become employed by other people, to be functioning parts of a big organic machine, which makes too few people too much money. And money's such a bizarre thing in itself. It's like, we can't eat money. We need to have a system that facilitates and legislates for the known needs of human beings: shelter, water, without any money being made on that. I don't think we should make money on housing, on education, on health. It's like, no, guys, let's give ourselves a break here. Let's have a society where things are available because we know we're going to need them. Not like, I don't know. You shouldn't. Why are we privatising gas and electricity if that's how we power all our systems? I don't know. Well, we used to own them. So back to that, I think. National Rail Service, more public transport, blah, blah, blah. They're all linked. But the effect that it has on the individual, and you as a great individual here talking, and how you've come to understand and to amend your self as a unique individual that's been at the mercy of other people's abuse, about systems or whatever, where you found yourself physically and mentally unwell, but that there was something in you that, and you're a mother as well, right? Well,
3 children.
Well, there you go. There's no harder job on the planet. There's probably no harder job that's so undervalued by society.
Absolutely.
And
it's an incredibly important
of course,
job.
it's the most important job. I will argue with literally anyone on this one.
The first 7 years are critical.
Absolutely. I know, 100%.
Yeah.
Why is it we have a system that acknowledges that?
I wish I knew that.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Lost
this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So how do we do it? And we use the arts. How do we get it so that each individual can come to their own conclusions, based on science, based on anything you want to base it on? I don't care. I
think it's all relevant.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
100%. But you have to have access. But you need to know.
You need an open mind, but not so much
you
brains
need to know.
fall out.
No,
you know?
exactly.
So it's being able to balance the two. I mean, I was very out there for a long time because I was, suffering from dissociation.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
It was very painful for me to be in my body. I had deep self-hatred. I self-harmed, very suicidal at times. Couldn't get the help, and when I did go and get the help, pluck up the courage after years, was told we all have bad days.
Oh.
And it's something that I've put across to NHS meetings that I've been in after I finished my trauma therapy, and I said it's incredibly important to educate the first port of call when someone with mental health approaches, like the GP, who might not be trained so much in mental health. But I said the problem is you've got people accessing, a lovely chap, very creative again, brilliant musician, died, jumped off cliff and suspension bridge a few years ago. Great friend of my daughter's, lovely lad, very talented. 4 times going to the GP saying I feel suicidal, and brushed aside, and then he took his own life in his 20s. What strikes me is it's just small bits of education that aren't hard to figure out, small bits of information. And then I started to realise that there are things in this system that are beyond our ability maybe to change in the immediate time we're in. It runs deep. And that's why I started to feel like what you can do, and what is most important anyway, is that we help each other. Is that we have power in the sense that we can share our experiences, we can be there for each other, we can help someone out, be it the right way to help them out. There are right ways and there are wrong ways to help. And I think, like, one good thing about, because I'm not big on social media and all that, I don't really understand all that, but one thing that I thought was amazing, I used to scrabble around in libraries, try to get books on things to understand. It was hard back and to find that information. You've got a wealth of information, this generation, make the most of it, research, understand psychology, understand the world that you're living in, what's happening socially. That's another thing that, the politics, and but most of all your inner self, you know, because it's not until you know yourself that you can really have effect. And it's kind of like having effect without really trying, because it's like situations start to present themselves. Life has a flow to it, just like the art does, because the more I tried to control the art, I mean, at times I looked like a bloody smurf. I mean, my son would walk out, I was covered in blue. I was like, oh God, I don't know. I'm just like trying. And I'd be sliding around in this paint because it's quite wild at times. It was when I was learning anyway.
Yeah.
And you know, you start to realise, actually, I don't know what the outcome is. I can have a vision, but if I try to contain that too much or rigidly act that out, it used to just go wrong. And you know, down to the shed, you know, that's another one gone. And then I started to realise the mirroring that was happening in my own life and in the art. And so after 2 years of getting it wrong a lot and saying I'm never doing this again, enough. And the money, you know, it cost money that I didn't have, you know, and that wasn't easy, but it was, there was a passion for it, and I started to develop a relationship with it, so it was showing me what was going on inside of me. And then the more I started to relax with the art and let go of the need for validation and let go of the need for it to have an outcome in a certain way, and basically stop playing God with it, you know, it revealed to me what it was doing and what it was doing. And then
that is so profound and beautiful.
It's just what it is, though, because it's really simple. It's profound.
Yeah, it's about being conscious
but it's
of
the
it.
simplicity of the profoundness.
And that's the there you go. There's the beauty right there. It's like, it's that simple.
It's this all the time.
But yeah,
you know,
society would have us believe
it's so
that everything out there, everything, celebrities are valued. Even though that you might have known them as kids, just like, no, they're just the same people. They're just normal people.
Yeah. There's a lot of validation seeking going on in the world.
Totally, 100%. And we're separated from our tribes.
You don't need it.
Separate, 100%. But to know these things, how do we find? That's why we use the arts, is so that the individual can find their own. Doesn't matter. No, you don't have to show this to anyone, whether it's a song, a film. You don't have to show it to anyone. But that we're all on the same. We're all not in unique journeys, but they go humanity's journey of seeking physical needs and our emotional needs. And even though that we quantify them in certain categories and say we need X amount of this and X amount of that, how we get them, or sometimes more importantly, don't get them or access them, is incredible. It's like, why have we got a society that withholds this, whether it's food or whether it's emotional food, whether it's the soul food of it's coming off this thing. This one here. That one, yeah. The thing is that this is completely numb, so I can't feel it. I can feel it a little bit now, but it keeps coming off, but that's not skin graft, you see.
Right.
This is probably going to get really painful. As this interview thing, I'll suddenly go, whoa, wait a minute. I can't talk. I had it done just today, before I got here.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, come on, Doc. I've got to make this artist, haven't I?
Does it, Ed?
Yeah. No, it's funny because I didn't know how long it was going to take. And we got to the hospital at 9 o'clock. And I don't know, I thought I'd spin it round in an hour. It was a few hours, but they're brilliant.
Crack on, Doc.
Yeah. But bless them. So how we obtain it, and you know, there's if you look at, it's not here. There's our insignia sort of has got the Venn diagram of what scientists or about sustainable development, about taking societal needs, economic needs, and environmental needs oh, there you go. Oh, look at you. Fantastic thing. Right, let's do it. I can show you. You people, Maya, you can show this closer up. So, the outward Venn diagram there is the Venn diagram of sustainable development. Because we are actually
Might put that up there.
Yeah, you can do that. So, you see the environment and the economy and society. So you can't make money if society, for instance, doesn't agree with how you're doing it or doesn't. It is or no, and if it contravenes the environmental, the law of thermodynamics, for instance, the second law of thermodynamics. If you contravene any of those things, you are stuck as a if your idea is you want to make money out of IKEA. Really went into this in the big things like where do you get your wood from? Well, we get the cheapest wood. If you get the cheapest wood, it's not sustainable, is it? Because if you don't plant 5 for everyone, right? So that's a very basic idea what I'm talking about. But some looking at this and thinking, well, actually that's all well and good, but actually what we need to really focus on is the physical, emotional, and spiritual.
You get that right, the rest takes care of itself.
There you go. Right. So that's what we concentrate on, in order for everyone to be. So the individual then is a player in society, is a player in the economy, and obviously we are a part of nature. We're not apart from nature, so we have to be aware of not just of the green environment, but of the social environment. And you've been saying it. It's about helping each other, being aware. This is why this hub exists. We don't make
this is incredible.
Well, it's incredible because it's a manifestation, not of mine.
More of it.
Well, then maybe we should get another one in Corsham, aren't you? Where are you?
Corsham.
Right. Well, let's start another one in Corsham, because you can see how absolutely. But it's down to the wonderful people, and I mean this. The great people at Emery Gate who give us this space for free. The rates relief we get from our council and from the volunteers. And
they make it all
they're
happen.
Solid gold, of course they do. I'm very rarely here. I mean, I love being here, don't get me wrong, I love the people that come here, and we have regular visitors and we have an absolutely great relationship. But we also have an alternative education, and we do other thing that runs throughout the year, and we have projects that are up, down, Dolly Pepper here in the other countries. So I'm not
to find out more.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to give you a gift of this T-shirt.
Yay!
Okay, it's meant to happen.
Well, I would
it?
give you some money, but I'm broke.
No, you don't have to. No, I just think that
I'd like
that was a
to.
great idea that you.
Well, let me give you a painting.
No.
Nick, please.
No, okay.
Because they're going to the Red Cross, aren't you?
They're going to the Red Cross.
Yeah. Why not?
Whatever doesn't sell.
Because if I've got food and I've got shelter, I'm a lucky person.
Yeah.
I'm a damn lucky person.
Okay, well, that's really good of you.
Look at the world. Nah, it's not good of me. Look at the world around us.
Yeah.
I've had people take me in when I've had nothing, no clothes.
I do what I do because I get great help. I've got some. Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, if we don't work together in this world, we're done.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah, I agree. 100%. And a lot of people, particularly politicians, get it wrong with me and they think, so I won't.
There's a few good ones, but I don't see a lot of good going on.
There's some great people
ones,
in every walk of life.
A bit disillusioned right now.
Don't be disillusioned.
Yeah.
Turn your disillusion upside down.
I still do what I can do.
You are doing it, and that's why we call Can Do, because we can do arts for sustainable development. Because this is the whole thing. It's a social thing, which really, really challenges certain politicians. Even though I've advised ministers and I've been to the Home Office, local politicians find it really, because I won't. It's like, no, obviously we know what we're talking about. We work in society. You're hobbyists. You do this because you want to feel this, that or the other, or you've got a single issue like the environment. Some of the local politicians, are secret sort of Extinction Rebellion supporters who got into local politics to affect a vital part of it, but they never. My problem is that with environmentalists, Chico Mendes, the famous Brazilian, I think, environmental campaigner, but not in that sense. That's him now. He's dead. It's from I am Chico Mendes.
Can you sing that?
Not really. I phone you from afar.
We're gonna get a little smiley.
Nice.
I know. There's only one like it.
It's groovy. Chico Mendes.
I've got to pick up some little kiddies.
Little kiddies or little?
Little. Not kiddies from Lidl's.
No, I was going to say.
Weird.
There's little kiddies. They're in the central aisle. Get them. They're on the.
I won't go for it.
But
okay,
Chico Mendes is actually a martyr. Really, he got killed. He was a campaigner in Brazil. about preserving the indigenous population and whatever, and possibly against the timber industry and what have you, and developments within the Amazon or wherever. And he got murdered, which is a terrible thing. But his quote, and this is for all you environmentalists out there, Extinction Rebellion councillors and what have you, his quote was, "Environmentalism without class struggle is just gardening." Because my point is this: we have issues trying to obtain funding for some of the more economically challenged families and individuals that we work with, but we sometimes don't get the support because the politicians are so focused, local politicians particularly, on their own little pet projects, which, you know, you can't undermine nature in my book, but you can, if your only focus is greening up, having a greener agenda, and you feel better about yourself, even though you've probably come from a middle class family, you've probably got a nice house, all the food, and you don't acknowledge poverty. If Extinction Rebellion and their followers and the like were first trying to eradicate homelessness and poverty, and then once we got that, everyone's got a house, everyone's sorted, right, now let's think about the environment, everyone, because we're all going to die if we don't. The world will just spin without us. I would be supporting them. And I do spiritually in a sense. Well done, rather than that they do that. But it's really, really, it's so, I don't know, it's such a sort of like half-hearted thing. Well, great, so you want to tie yourself to such and such because you want to stop oil, or you want to stop, it's like, get it, stop poverty first, stop homelessness first, and you might have a better chance of doing all these things.
I think a lot of
I'm burping again. Keep going.
Is the psychology.
Right. So how do you get into the psychology? How did you? Because this is the problem, isn't it? People don't realise they can, and why they should.
I see it. It's in every system, because in every system there are human beings.
100%. So what's the agenda then? Yeah, working in the system, but what's the agenda? You shouldn't have to, as a local politician, go, oh, I'm not going to. That guy talks about this.
Well,
obviously,
sorry, what just popped in then is fear.
Yeah, 100%.
It's fear. Yeah. It's fear, and I saw it. I mean, I don't know what your stance is on what's happening in the Middle East at the moment.
Oh
but
my
I did
God,
go on a protest for Palestine on Friday.
And fair play to you.
You know, I am not anti-Semitic whatsoever.
Listen, that's been deliberately by the Zionists in whatever that
doing a lot of damage,
place.
and that's got nothing to do.
It's to do with land grabbing.
Yes.
Right, and there's no how you can devalue.
People know that.
Yeah, but people in power, because
people are afraid, Ed.
Of course they are.
What I saw mostly
Let's clarify this.
Faces.
It's nothing to do with religion, everyone. It's not to do with Jews
not.
and Muslims.
That's just
and remember, do your research. The majority of people in Palestine or Palestinians have lived in that land. Used to be Jews back in the day. They used to be Jews. They changed religion. They have been in that land for centuries and centuries. A lot of the people that live in that state of Israel come from Europe and America.
Christians, Jews, Muslims all live together in harmony. It was beautiful. I looked
100%.
at the archive footage.
100%.
I looked at all the history.
Pre-1947, 48.
Creative. I mean, it was just a beautiful society for a very long time. And then we...
British and their empire with a mandate.
My
point, my response is, it's just people. I don't have any truck. My forefathers, 22% Jewish, whatever. I don't have a truck with any religion. Do what you want, as long as you're not hurting anyone.
Yeah.
I'm not anti anything. However, I am anti genocide. I am anti Putin going into Ukraine. So we support Ukrainian refugees. We've supported Syrian refugees. We've supported any refugees.
Some Syrian refugees.
There you go. That's it. So we've done all those things because they're just people.
And
they're just people.
Are afraid, like with the. My daughter started helping them. Their little boy Mohammed was in their class, but I think people are just afraid because. And I started looking into Islam a bit just out of curiosity because they were lovely people, and it's like in my head. I'd been like made to feel like the extremism was the whole picture. And it's just absolutely not. And it's like people are afraid.
Yeah.
And like on this protest, the people in Bath, you can see on their faces they're afraid. People want to speak out, and I was afraid to speak out to begin with. I was afraid because it put me out of my comfort zone. Yeah. It was like, people are not going to like me. People are going to hate me. People are going to think I'm stupid. I've been called a stupid cow. I've been called a terrorist. I've been abused by the not the public, by other people. And it's the police that had to protect us. Yeah. Actually, it's not us that we're non-violent people.
Because the propaganda that's put out. The most powerful man in America isn't Joe Biden, it's Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Right, and it's nothing to do with being a Jew, it's nothing to do with being a Muslim or a Catholic or a Jain or whatever. No. It's to do with land and money.
And that's the worst form of terrorism, to go into a land and just kill them off.
So if you just take the American or the English, the British Empire. Look at what they did. They didn't go in and say, hello, dear such and such, we'd like to come over to your country and help you mine some of your minerals, and which the Chinese are doing actually. They're quite bright, the Chinese. The economic empire. They don't go in and kill you.
It's all going on behind the curtain.
Of course it is, absolutely. Then you can talk about the Uyghurs and everything else, and you'd be right to. However, the reality is that and we'll just say Britain for this thing, have gone into, if you looked at the death count, the murder and rape and robbery count, you would not want to say that you were British anywhere at any time, because there's so many countries and peoples. Right, okay.
It's the biggest, well, you've got to be careful what you say, because, you know, they're trying to lock people up for just, like, trying to stand up for innocent people.
Well, they would, wouldn't they? I mean, they would want to lock you up because it goes against their narrative. And this is why local politicians need to be more savvy, and that's why there needs to be more decisions made by more people.
It's the fear of coming out that comfort zone and doing the damn right thing. Yeah. Doing the right thing. Yeah. We've all got enough here. Yeah. Don't need more.
Well,
I would
say that
we put those resources.
You didn't have millionaires. We've got too many billionaires. We don't need any of those things.
If we weren't spending it on bombs and stuff, they're
the billionaires. People that
we would be able to put that into how, you know, the suffering that's going on right under our noses.
Equitable. What do you call it? Of distribution. Of resources for every human being on the planet.
NHS.
Well, no, but for everyone. I mean, across the board, that get rid of the stock exchange. It's absurd. We shouldn't have privatisation of anything that is essential. If you want to play Monopoly with your ridiculous inventions or stuff that's beyond our natural needs and our day-to-day needs, great. But for the essential things like water, whatever you're going to heat your homes, education, medical, should be out of the remit of party politics.
I think the people that gravitate towards power are generally can be quite psychopathic, because psychopathic, narcissistic type, sociopathic, they like power, they love it. That's what they're feeding.
A lot of the kiddies that are extracted from their families at an early age, sent to these boarding schools to be trained to be the leaders, because they haven't got the emotional attachment. They are suffering because they're not with their families. We talked about it early on, the first 7 years. They're taken away from their families, that they have to overcome. Well, I went to boarding school and it did me no harm. And it did.
It did. Yeah.
Of course it did. And no disrespect to Boris Johnson, bless him, but if you were to follow his trajectory, you'd understand why he thought it was okay to have a party while he was telling everyone else. Yeah. But
to us,
and then all those politicians.
Really,
look at all the politicians and their
like
partners that got money.
But how do you change that psychology?
How do you change it?
That's really deep rooted.
With art. With art, 100%. That's what. Think how the propaganda of the church, propaganda of politics, is all sold through art, because it's really, really acceptable, isn't it? Everyone likes the arts, not just art, painting. I'm on about Michelangelo was excluded.
Well, this is how you get into the people. I was talking to someone about this the other day. You're exactly right, because this is how you get. Well, this is what
right. I'm right.
What was I saying?
Yeah, that you were talking to someone the other day about how to get into the people.
The fear. the fear.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for the way that the media, all medias, which is all art, you know, how that actually gets into the mind of the masses, because the masses are large in numbers. And it's weird because it's like apparently 70% of this country want a ceasefire. In the Middle East, you know?
I would believe that completely, because we're empathetic beings. We do not like when we see suffering. We do not want it to happen.
These small fraction of people that I wouldn't call human because they have no compassion whatsoever.
My dad served in the military. He came from a very poor background in Ireland, which in itself had been brutalised by the British and still is to a degree, in the fact that it's still occupied partly. That he was so desperate to feed his own children that he joined the Royal Air Force. God bless him. And got 2 campaign medals. So his life must have been in danger a couple of times in Aden and Borneo and Malaya. I think Malaya actually. He was part of the Suez Canal, but he didn't do that. I really want to. He didn't speak like that. Didn't want to do that for any other reason than it was a consistent income, because you couldn't make 3 jobs pay him enough money in Ireland. And obviously don't even go into what's happened to Ireland over the 800 years of occupation and the famines. Yeah, totally. So, and then divide and conquer, then the split between the North and South, Cyprus, India, Pakistan, you name it. It's just a tactic. It's like, wow, we need to, as a sentient species, go enough's enough. Let's just recalibrate this. We can't have people with too much, and we definitely can't have people with not enough. The levelers during the Civil War had it right. We've got to level it out, and this rubbish that the Conservatives, bless them, talk about. They're called Tories. The Conservatives are called Tories, which is an old Irish name for a bandit, people that rob. And by God, that's a good name for them. But not just them. I've come to my disgust to find people from the Liberal Democrats in the locality here.
Well, I mean, I don't really know who to
anyone that's to do with a political party that's been going more than 10 seconds, essentially. Any of the old established, and Labour's quite relatively new, but Labour as well. Keir Starmer, good luck to you. He's as much true Labour as Mahatma Gandhi was a sumo wrestler. How I used
to remember it back in the day.
No, but exactly. So all of that's gone. All party politics is gone.
But I think the mask is off, and I think people are in a state of, like what I saw, like with the fear on people's faces, like they wanted to join in. But there was this, you could feel that we're here,
you step over shouting, that.
And it's peaceful. It's all. I've never seen any violence come from the protesters.
I do not believe or agree, and ask my friends, ask people that say to me, there'll have to be a violent revolution.
No.
No violence, never violence.
But you can see it, people want to join in, they want to join in. And what's holding them back is what held me back as well, is because the general consensus on the bloody news is saying that we're bad
boycott.
People.
So boycott. You forget them. So what you do is you boycott. And you boycott all the companies that are.
Have a voice. Get out there.
But boycott. Do not take part. Do not take part in
boycott.
Boycott all those.
That's why
all those.
South Africa apparently that really helped.
My God, I did that, and I did marches and everything else. And I got into
and once you break through that fear,
100%. Money's the way.
So
you boycott the companies, and there's a list of them that support what's happening in that part of the world right now, and has been for the last 75 years. But in other parts of the world. And in this country, there are people, organisations that support the party politics, and the Friends of Israel. Look at that! Look at that one for a minute. Anyway, I know you've got to go. We can have another discussion. Please take this.
I would really
lovely
like
thing,
to chat.
And we will chat again.
That's really awesome. Please,
Julie,
I'm going to have to come back and get the pictures before I go get the kids.
Yeah, no worries. You get them, and we will see. We'll do this again. We'll come back and we'll do another one. But for now, everyone. Julie Hartley, please, if you come in to see some of the work, we're going to see some of it now on this. But also,
don't painting it.
Do what you want with it. It's yours.
I want you to mess with everything.
Well, that's right. But I want you to, just because it's been really valuable, and I love what you've done as an artist. But I love even more this conversation, because I don't know you, and to learn from you and to be inspired
it's all
by you.
about overcoming fear.
Of course it is. That's it, and that's really what this whole thing's about.
When the fear's gone, there's that love and that power of that love, which is,
and there's nothing that can
incredible.
defeat that.
Which is why I'm here. Which is why my children are here.
Yeah.
And there's nothing stronger.
There's nothing stronger than the mother.
However it pans out, however your
You're a
picture
wonderful human
is,
being.
just don't forget to love.
There you go. And on that lovely note, it's a wrap.